Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now popping in for another video. Not sure when this will be released, but want you to think about this because now this could be anybody in the world, any race, any nationality, any gender, but who I have on my heart right now is black women. And that's just because of this the space that I've been seeing that the world, the economy is going in. I have a colleague who has a fund for black and brown women where they give money to them for their business. And you know that there's a lot of grants for women out there. And you know, a lot of applications you fill out, it asks you, are you Hispanic? And which was always interesting to me when a application specifies if you're Hispanic, like not Native American, not African American, but like, are you of the Hispanic race? And that just kind of is, it just goes to show you how there's different plans, there's different agendas, there's different focuses. And right now the focus is on black women. If you notice, there's also a movement of white men fetishizing black women. And I don't know if I said fetishizing or fetishizing, whichever one it is, of black women, and wanting, and the black women wanting them a lobster and pasta, like the girl said. And not really, it really could not be a further apart two people unless one of the people start to really be immersed in the culture of the other. Because if you think about it, when it was like, when you think of black and white, you have the white man, the white woman, the black man, the black woman. When you think of like slavery days and Jim Crow. So it's like, how can the person who's at the head of society, who's the president, who's the slave master, how can he have any relation to the woman who's at the bottom, the person who's at the bottom of society, who is like the heel of society and in those times? And so now today there's this movement of, and it's black women calling it divesting or something like that, and they're going to white men, and then there's white men who are desiring black women. And it comes from, white women only desiring a small percentage of white men. He has to make a certain amount of money, and he got to make a certain amount of money. It don't matter how he looks, because you'll notice these white men, some of them are really short, some of them have dad bods, but if they have money, then they can get any white woman that they want. If a white man does not have money, then he does not have the pick of the litter when it comes to white women. And so some of those white men without money end up with a black woman. And a lot of times those black women, they are suffering from the same thing as the white men, because the black women are being overlooked by majority of black men. And it could be for how she talks, it could be how her body is built, it could be how she looks. And then so she's being overlooked by black men, and this on average. There are exceptions to the rule, but I'm just speaking the majority. On average, she's being overlooked by black men. So then her and the white guy who's being overlooked by white women, they get together and they form a couple. And now you will see that couple in the commercials now on television. So it leads me to ask this question, because I also see that in churches, in black churches, and then even in churches that aren't predominantly black, when it comes to single women who don't have, when it comes to single women, the majority of the single women will be of color. And so what I mean by that is, let's say it's a white church. If the church is 40 to 70% white, then that other, I would say 40 to 70%. So then you got that other 60, 30 to 60%. If it is of color, in the of color part, there will be more single women than married women. So let's say a church is comprised of 20% black women, and or no, I would say 20% single black women. Let's say 20% is single black women. Well, that 20% of single black women will give the equivalent of 40% of white couples. And that is because when you have a single black woman, if she doesn't have children and she has a college degree and she has a good paying job, she has more expendable cash. If you have a white couple, 9.5 out of 10 of them will have children. And then on top of having children, they will have multiple children. And their children will most likely be in some type of extracurricular activity, and all of it is expensive. Dance team is expensive, gymnastics is expensive, softball, baseball, soccer, basketball, football, it is all expensive. So now you have a white family with 3 children on average. Majority of the white families I know have 3 kids. I'm thinking of countless of them right now, even the ones who don't have a lot of money. They will have 3 kids, and then mom and dad, and a lot of them, mom doesn't work. Or if she works, it's kind of for fun, doesn't make a lot. Or dad doesn't work, one way or the other. So they actually have less expendable cash than the single black woman who may be making 70,000 to 250,000. So now the single black woman who's making 250,000, she only needs 100,000 to live if she budgets and manages her money right. So she has an extra 150K a year. Instead of giving 10%, she may be giving 20%, because she's going to give to the building fund. She's going to give tithes. She's going to give offering. She's going to give the special donation. She's going to give when the visiting pastor is coming in. I saw the other day that it was a pastor in Atlanta. He did a tithes and offering, and he said, we're going to take up a tithe and offering for those in need, those who were affected by the hurricane. He said we were supposed to do a special fundraising event for our church to try to raise $1 million, but we're going to do this tithes and offering for those in need. But now this pastor is not married, and he's divorced from his last marriage where he cheated on his wife. So if a man is a pastor and he's not above reproach, he's a cheater, fornicator, having children out of wedlock, bad discernment when he does choose a woman, think now he got a woman, bad discernment when he does choose a woman, do you think the money that is raised in the name of, all of the money that is raised in the name of, when he doesn't specify, hey, everything we take up today, every dime of it going to these churches that have been affected by the hurricane, and we're going to share to the penny what came in, and every dime going to them, or we're going to give them 50% of what is given today, or 70%. He doesn't specify. And the reason why he doesn't specify is because he has a building full of black women. And these black women may donate that $1 million. He doesn't say what amount is going to be given to those churches. So if he cuts them a check out of that 1 million that comes in, if he cuts a check 100,000 to this church and 100,000 to that church, he's still sitting on 800,000. Most he probably gonna cut a check is 25K. And that's if over like $250,000 gets donated. So if you got a church and you have, let's say you got 1,000 black women in there, it's literally 3,000 to 5,000 people in there. Let's say 1,000 of them is single black women, and they all make 90,000 and up, and they single black women. They can give because there's a need. Like I had black women telling me that they would donate to me to disperse to people in need, and I never set it up just because I didn't want to take anybody's money, because everybody got something, they got something to do, and I don't know these people who are affected by the hurricane, and I don't know if they're gonna do right with it. I don't know what kind of scam they got going on, because some people are scamming in this hurricane. Some people lying to FEMA and getting false money. So I just didn't feel like getting caught up in it with it. Like if you got a heart to give, I know God gonna show you somebody that is in need, and then you can give to them directly yourself. I didn't want to be in the middle of it and having to do that. So 1,000 black women in this church that may have 3,000, 5,000 people in there, if they all gave $1,000, that's $1 million raised. 1,000 times 1,000 is 1 million. If 2,000 women gave 500, that's $1 million in a day. But see, the thing about it is the reason why the pastor took and made it about these other churches, because you're going to raise more money in disaster. You're going to raise more money in the name of disaster than you're going to raise as a fornicating pastor for your church. And see, that's the trick of the enemy. That's the deception. And that's how women are being played on. So you have to ask yourself, what are you giving and what are you getting in return? In your relationship, if you're in a dating relationship, if you're in a marriage, what are you giving and what are you getting in return? If you're in a church, what are you giving and what are you getting in return? Is there a dollar amount, a set dollar amount? I seen they showing the sermon from another pastor that's from 11 months ago, and I think he's doing a tithes and offering, and he had two amounts that you could give, 109 or 28. And it's like, that's not how God works. God don't put a number on what you got to give. You give from the gladness of your heart. You give what you can give. That might be $1. It might be $0 because your mortgage or your rent, your car note got to be paid and you don't have a dime. God knows that. He understands that. He sees that. But he also know the heart. And that pastor, he was saying, I promise you, this gonna be a curse breaking exercise. And he said, I promise you, God told me this gonna be a curse. So now he is promising to people that God told him this. And this is the same pastor who said God told him that there's 2,100 people who can give $2,100 in 21 days. But then he came back and all but basically said God changed his mind, that he didn't think about the people also were suffering from the hurricane. And it's like, well, you said God told you that. God don't make mistakes. So now you're basically admitting and saying God never told you no such a lie, that you came and said that God told you. So if God did not tell you what you said God told you last month, then how are we going to believe 11 months ago that God told you this a curse breaking tithe or offering or gift or exercise? He said exercise. So it's like, once somebody lie on God once, you can never trust them again to ever tell you what God has said. So, but the thing about it is, what a lot of people not thinking about is what they're giving. So you giving your time, you giving your attention, You giving over your spirit to these tarot cards, to these psychics, to these false prophets, to YouTubers, life coaches, authors, pastors, podcasters, speakers. But what are you walking away with? Are you only walking away with entertainment? Are you only walking away with empty promises? Are you only walking away with scripture taken out of context? Are you walking away with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and applicable information? Something that you can actually use in your life that's going to benefit you for the greater good. Something that you can implement. Like, what are you getting in return? If you're in a relationship and you're giving sex, what are you getting in return? Empty promises about a marriage that is never going to come, when you're going to get married, when you're going to get engaged. Like, what are you getting in return? See, the only time that we shouldn't question what we get in return is when we giving to those in need. And giving to God is giving to those in need. When you give to the poor, you lending unto the Lord, you giving to God. So that's when you don't ask what you getting in return. But the way how that is played on, and so it's some false teachers right now that just see there. So when I'm talking about give, people shouldn't be worrying about what they get in return. But if that's the case, then why do they promise you a return on your gift? Because the only person who can promise you a return on your gift is God. And yes, when you give and you give from a glad heart, you give from the right place, it will be given back unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. But giving to God is giving to the needy, it is giving to needs, it is allowing your gift to be ministry. So sometimes I see people, they will go out and they will be in the street and they will be proclaiming the gospel. But if all you're giving people is words, it doesn't show love. What it shows is attention-seeking behavior. What it shows is arrogance. What it shows is a need to be seen. But if you actually went out and you took your 10% and you got a cooler of cold water, and everybody who walked by, you gave them the highest quality water. If you went to Little Caesars and you took $200, $100, and the pizza is $5, and you went and you got a sign and you say 1 slice per person until it's gone. If you hungry, here's a meal. You got on a polo. You're not dressed bummy. You're not looking a mess. You got on a polo. You got a folding table, and you got pizza stacked up. And they get a piece of pizza. They get a bottle of water. And then with that, you can give them a card with a powerful scripture. John 3:16, if you want to. You could simply say, God loves you. What ministry is going to be more powerful? You taking your 10% and you feeding people who might not even be hungry, but they just walking by, they got money to go get something to eat. But the fact that they could see all these boxes, they could see you are presentable, they could see you got a helper, y'all look nice, you smell nice, you got the pizza, you open the pizza, you got the plates, you got napkins, and you literally just spent, you get 20 boxes of pizza for $100. You literally just spent, and you in a place where people need to eat, where people might be hungry. You're in a place where it's a bunch of kids playing. Like, imagine reaching the youth. Like, who is going to stop you from going to the city courts? When I say city courts, I'm talking about the basketball courts, where all the kids go down there and play at the court. Who going to stop you from having a folding table and 20 Little Caesars pizza or whoever pizza? And you could even talk to the owner of the Little Caesars or the manager and say, listen, I want to buy 20. Will you donate? Because I'm taking this to the kids. Will you donate 10? I believe you're going to receive the favor to get that donation. Now, if not, okay, cool. That lets you know we're in a recession. Don't worry about it. God gonna bless you because somebody gonna start giving you money. People gonna start giving you money and say, hey, I want you doing 10 pizzas or you doing 20 pizzas. I want to match you with 20. We finna feed, and then we're gonna tell all the kids with a phone, text your friends, text your mama, text your daddy, text everybody, come get a piece of pizza. Every Wednesday at 6 p.m., come get a piece of pizza until we run out. And have enough water, other little snacks, and you just make it a thing. Before you know it, you feeding everybody. But guess what? You give them the gospel. See, people don't care how many scriptures you know until they could see you living the scripture. Until they could see your 2 loaves and your fish be multiplied. That's when they want to hear. So that's how you got to be able to look and see, like, okay, I'm being asked to give all of this, all of these donations to the church. But what am I getting in return other than seeing pastor in a G-Wagon or on private jets or on sabbaticals traveling all around the world vacation? Like, what am I getting in return for this? Some AC in here, some lights. That's the bare minimum. Like, what are they doing? Somebody wrote, my wife read it to me. Ironically, I ain't know white people was going through the same thing now. Because I see this in the black church pretty heavy right now. I don't know about the Hispanic church and the Asian church. I would imagine it's the same. But my wife in the next door app, she says somebody wrote in the next door app. She said, notice how you don't see any churches coming together to help clean up the community and to help serve and like give out supplies and things, but they ask for tithes and offering every chance they get. I say, you see there, people want to see what you going to give. So that's why when people ask me and they be like, okay, Tony, like people always come to me and they be like, Tony, you could sell your courses for way more. Like you underselling yourself. Like people are selling these same courses for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I remember seeing some young men that had just jumped off the porch. Like here I was like a decade into the work that I'm doing. And there was these young brothers, these young black men, they jumped off the porch and did one course. I probably had 20 courses at the time. They did one course and they were charging, one was charging 2,500 and the other was charging 3,500. At that time, my courses was like being sold for an average of like 40 or $50. And these guys didn't have 10%, but I did that intentionally because one of the guys is like an atheist and one of the guys is a Muslim. And so I wanted to show Christ and showing the abundance of Christ and showing how Christ is a giver. And so even right now, I still got courses from my dad's birthday that's $9.30. One of them I seen somebody bought $9.26. That was my wife's birthday. And I didn't do the 930 for my dad's birthday. I just did it was the last day of September. I still ain't went in to change the price. And I just not led to. It just not that important to me. And on one side of me, sometimes I will feel like, man, Tony, you selling yourself too short, man. You getting taken advantage of, man. You being used, man. You doing too much, man. You done put in, you done built a name out here. You done did this and did that. You could be really, really hitting people across the head because of your name and because of your brand and because of your consistency. And now I hear that from the adversary. And I know it's the devil because then it will have me looking just like his soldiers, his minions. But when I take and sell courses that have helped me earn millions of dollars and I'm selling it for $9.30, I know for the people who have eyes to see, spiritual eyes to see, they're going to see the difference. And even the ones who got carnal eyes, they still going to be like, well, I don't understand this now. Because what I just got out of this course, like I'm really finna implement this. This thing finna help me. And I just paid $9.30 now. And so that's what you have to realize, like, what am I getting? And you should be able to feel it. Now, when we started calling this out, notice in the pandemic when there was an insane overflow, churches started bringing money out on the stage and throwing it out to the people. Churches started bringing money out, putting it in baskets and saying, come get what you need. That's because everybody they were getting quadruple the donations they know. But notice now there's no giving on that level. Nobody is going viral for bringing out buckets of cash and giving it out, or bringing out cash and making it rain over the congregation. Even for the look, they can't even afford to do it for the look. Now it's just give, 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 because I need you to keep my lifestyle up. Keep my lifestyle up, but I'm not fixing to feed y'all on Wednesdays or whatever day or whatever. And this, as I'm talking, I'm like, you know what? I help people in need, me and my wife every month, and we giving like that. But it just gave me an idea. I'm gonna get with a couple of guys, and we're gonna do that Little Caesar idea. We're gonna do that Little Caesar pizza idea. Oh, go to the basketball court. Now the only thing is some of these kids will be trying to swing on you. Oh, that. Oh, some of these kids, I want 2 pieces and want to sway. And Lord, keep them safe out there now. But I'm gonna find a day and a time. We're gonna start doing that. And I probably never get to post it on social media. We ain't supposed to do that anyways. But it's different if you doing it not for clout, but you doing the show like, hey, match me. Like go to your local community. Don't do this for clout. I'm not showing this for clout. I'm just showing you to show like this what we need to start doing it. Go do it. Show it one time so other people could see it. And then the rest of the time you do it, don't show it no more. Show it for teaching purposes and don't show it no more. And then now come back and show it if you get a company that's gonna match your donation. That's gonna you putting up your money and they're gonna give you that same amount in water or what have you. And then be honest with it. And it's gonna be people that's scammers with it, and that's what always mess us up. They're gonna get 50 cases of free water from the grocery store and then take it home, and they got water for the rest of the year to give it away like they promised they'll do. And so think about that now. Imagine how much more you'll want to give to a church or to a brand or a company or whatever if when you go to that church every week they got a free meal. Every church service they taking, and their 10% is free meals, to where after you sit and get that word in you, you get to go get you a plate of spaghetti. And it's something that it doesn't cost a lot of money, but it could feed a lot of people. And you get you a plate of spaghetti. But now guess what's going to happen? Every Wednesday and every Sunday, the church going to be full of homeless people. And they come in and get this word, and so that they could get a plate of food. But do the church want that? Do the church want a lot of people who on meth, who on cocaine, who on whatever, who homeless, who haven't showered? But now, what church have you seen that instead of that media room that has like the leather couches and the big flat screen TVs, they turn it into 10, 12 showers so that the homeless can come on church days, and they could come before church and they get to go in there and take a shower. And you got armor bearers or whatever you call it, ushers that's in there, and it's just so that nobody getting touched inappropriately or seen, and you could go in. And then what church has 10, 12 showers where the homeless can come shower, and they have a clothes closet to where everybody donates their old clothes? See, this is what my church gonna be doing. This kind of stuff my church gonna be doing when the Lord let me open up. I can't do it right now because my family is so busy, and that's my first ministry, to where everybody donate their clothes. So you homeless, you come in here, we're not judging you. Now, food is served after the sermon. So go get you a seat here, get your shower, here go clothes, here go shoes, here go whatever. Yeah, they might take some of that clothes, put it on, and go sell it later for money for drugs. That's between them and God. But guess what? When they sit up under that word, the realness of that word, the power of God going to start to hit their heart. They're going to take and ask somebody, can they use their phone to call their son, call their daughter, call their ex-wife, call their ex-husband, call whoever, start apologizing. They're going to start apologizing. They're gonna start to they're gonna go to a rehab center. They're gonna go to a shelter. They're gonna start to come off them drugs. See, what are you getting in return for what you giving? When you giving all these donations, are you truly being fed spiritually? Are you being fed physically, literally? Or you just giving donations? It's different when you buying a product or a service because that was the business transaction. What about in your relationship? You cooking, you cleaning, you swinging from chandeliers and ceiling fans, but what are you getting? Talked to like a dog, cussed at, no consistency. Like, is your gift being reciprocated? Are you receiving reciprocation? If the answer is no, then oh man, I ain't got no. Do I got pants over there? My wife said the day is, of course, the day is the day. She don't have one line on her face from a massage. Cause I had booked us a 6 o'clock dinner, but she didn't want to. She didn't want to do it because she be having a line on her face from the the little thing which you lay your hand. Okay, she ain't got her clothes. I'm gonna save that money because that place, that dinner be $300. I love my wife. I wanted to go, but being that it ain't working out seamlessly, the Lord telling me I might need to sow me a seed. Well, I'm sowing seed, and so that's the thing. It's like you have to look, and then one of the things about it now, when it comes to when you have a giving heart, the Lord does find ways to bless you. Like you do get blessed. And even when you not being blessed monetarily or whatever, you have peace. You have peace in the midst of the famine, in the midst of the storm. You have peace. Like we didn't have power for like 3.5 days, but we had peace. And we knew we was blessed because we didn't lose our roof. We didn't lose our house. Our house didn't flood. We just electricity went out for 600,000 people with our electricity provider, but it went out for 3.5 million people. And then we got it on, and some of our friends still don't have it. So it's like you have peace even in the midst when you have a cheerful heart and when you give from a cheerful heart. But see, what we got to start doing is we got to start thinking, and it's a lot of people don't think about this because you being pimped and saying, hey, pay $55 to $250 to come to this discipleship conference. So you giving your hard-earned money when you could come on YouTube and spend no money. Yes, it's advertisements on YouTube, but that's not costing you. It's costing the companies who are marketing to you. But nobody's twisting your arm and making you buy from the companies who are marketing. So you could sit on YouTube and you literally can watch 24 hours a day and not have to spend one dime out your pocket. And you could get whatever that channel is offering. If it's entertainment, if it's laughs, if it's learning or whatever. But now here we got discipleship conference, the Acts 242 conference coming up later this month in October. That's already sold out. People can't even get a refund. People can't even get a refund. And life happens. Stuff happens. Like right now, I got 2 or 3 refunds that's waiting on me because life has happened for people. Life happened for me. I was canceling my training to take my son to try out for a college team, so I had to cancel. And one of the people needed a refund versus shifting to another program. Financial issues, I'm guessing, hit their life or what have you. And I'm fine with that. So here we are processing refund. Life happened. Then I was actually gonna have, I didn't even know it, but I was actually gonna have to cancel it anyways because of the storm. Nobody flying in, nobody driving in. So because of Hurricane Milton. So either way, now had I waited, instead of canceling for my own needs, I would have had to cancel because of the storm. And then, but even then, I still would have had to issue a refund because it's like, well, hey, you can't have it. I can't come. You're not a bank where I'm gaining interest on my money. Can I have my money back? Just the Christian thing to do. Yes, you can have your money back. So now you go into this conference, you can't, if life happens, you can't even get a refund. It say all sales are final. And that's the world that we live in. But now you going and you finna get word salad. So now you paid, but not only did you pay for a ticket, you also paying gas money. You're also giving time because it's like when you watching YouTube or you listening to an online course that you done bought from your people, you still could be cleaning your house. You could be cleaning your house. You could be cooking dinner. You could be driving. You could be on a road trip going to see family. You could be doing whatever. You could be working out and your spirit still being fed. So now you giving your time. You get nothing else. You can't clean your house while you sitting at this conference. You can't be cooking dinner while you sitting at this conference. So you're going to be at this conference for 2 days and you finna hear the Bible regurgitated. But you have spent, some people will have spent thousands of dollars because some people, just because they want to go somewhere, they want to do something, they want to be part of something, they flying from California. Some people probably flying from Africa. Some people probably flying from Europe. My little old thing that I was doing with 5 people, one of the people was flying over from England. That's just how people are. So now, but the difference with what I was doing is it wasn't a Bible study. It wasn't discipleship. I'm finna teach them how to make millions of dollars with their company, with their brand, and how to expand their brand as mental health professionals so that they could reach more people, have more impact, but also more exposure. So it was a literal return on investment. When there's not a monetary return on investment, the rest of that stuff is free on YouTube, in the Holy Bible, or what have you. So we coming into a space to where there's so much deception in the world that you have to ask, what am I getting in return? And it's not about that you giving to get, it's that you are creating and you focus on win-win situations. So even serving Christ is a win-win. It's like you giving faithfulness, you giving diligence, you giving sacrifice, you living right, but it actually benefits you more than it does because God gets nothing from your obedience. Like you can't buy God no house. You can't. God is a spirit, so you actually are just living a better life, which is consecrating your spirit. So you getting all the benefits. Hold on 1 second. Y'all gotta forgive me. Coach write me back about my son. Ooh, y'all forgive me. I wanna man. I almost tears to come to my eyes because right now, And there's no way y'all could even reach, y'all can't even reach this man if you wanted to, probably. But if you could, I would tell you to go say, "Hey, coach, keep going. We we respect you, and I'm a Clemson fan now just because of you." I'm talking to Coach Dabo Sweeney, who is the Clemson football head coach. And I was writing him today, and I was talking about my son because Clemson got a real good soccer team. But there's this new ruling to where scholarships and stuff being cut, roster spots being cut. So the soccer team, instead of having 30, 35, 36 players, they got to go down to 28 players. And all 28 going to be scholarship players. Like they're going to have full scholarship. So if you're not good enough to get a scholarship for that school, then they ain't going to be able to take you because they're going to give you a scholarship if they got the scholarship money. And Coach Dabo, I wrote him this morning, sent him a son tape. He took the time to write me back. It's at the end of the day, his work day is over, but still he wrote me back. And I have never met a leader who is like that. Since I met Coach Dabo Sweeney, he is the only head coach that has responded to me every single time that I have written him. And so when you look at what his team doing this year, when you look at the national championships, that's why. Because he is a true leader. And every single person, I didn't work with his team this year. So he could have just wrote me off and say, out of sight, out of mind, man. You ain't serving my team this year. You ain't do nothing for me this year. He responded every message. This man will never want for anything in his life, because if he have to go down the other side of the mountain, there's not going to be one person that tells him no. If he ever reach out to anybody for help, because he answered every text message. See, that right there is leadership. And that's what I mean. Like, yes, I didn't charge their school my normal speaking fee when I spoke to the football team. But look what I got in return, though. I got somebody that I could reach out to, somebody I could bounce information off of, get some insight from, something like that. And that right there is priceless, because this man leading a program that is one of they number 10 in the country right now. And that right there, that's the kind of leaders that I respect. And it's head coaches who ain't done 10% of what Dabo done. It's head coaches that I write and don't get a response, and they ain't done 1% of what Dabo Sweeney done. Ain't done 1%. But look how he managed his time. Look how he managed his time to where and guess what? I'm the same way. Unless now when we was in this here storm without power, I couldn't respond to everybody. And then I just want to say the same thing over and over and over and over and over, because sometimes then it's like that's when everybody check on you when they know it's something going on. But it's so me just saying, hey, we out of power right now. It probably was one or two people say, if you need anything, let me know. And it's like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, otherwise, then you just got people wallowing in their misery. So that's the thing right there I want you to understand about when you serve, when you give, when you doing something. What are you getting in return? Like what comes back to you? And when you give to the Lord, it's not going to return void. When you give from your heart, it's not going to return void. You going to be blessed. But you have to make sure that you giving from the right place and that you giving to the right people. Meaning, if you in a dead-end relationship that is one-sided and it is a lose-win situation, you're not going to get what you deserve. And so I want you to realize and think about this thing and really start to ask yourself, like, what am I getting? Like, what is being asked of me? And that's why I'm making this point, because I'm very intentional about this. I'm very, like, when I do my videos, you might not notice this, but I'm gonna point it out, because not everything is people don't see it. But if you notice, when you watch my videos, I don't even ask if you are subscribed to the channel, because I don't care if you watch the videos and you haven't hit the subscribe button. I don't ask you to subscribe to the channel. I don't ask you to like the video. I don't ask you to share the video. The only thing I ask of you is to forgive me when I'm texting during the video or I'm driving during the video. And that right there comes from me being a Christian. Because what I see Christ doing is giving, giving, giving. I see Christ giving, and I see him not asking for us to give to him in return. He just gives. And now what he asks us to do is to live a righteous lifestyle. But he doesn't get anything from that. We When you actually live by the commandments, like you get like you could be an atheist. And if you live by the commandments, just universal law, just meaning reaping what you sow. It's like you could be an atheist, and if you sow a seed on the ground and you till the land, you're gonna reap a harvest because that's universal law. Not every farmer is a Christian. You see what I'm saying? There are things set in place to where if you work, you're gonna eat, even if you're an atheist. Now, if you work and you are a child of God, you're gonna eat, but you're gonna eat more abundantly. It's gonna be exceeding above and beyond eventually. There's gonna be seasons of famine, it's gonna be tough times. You're gonna have Job experiences. Not all. Let's pray we don't go through everything Job went through, but it's gonna be your version of your Job season. And but guess what? You're gonna have peace. So you giving righteousness, you're giving purity, and you receiving peace and prosperity. And so really look at that transaction, because here you are, what you're giving isn't even a gift. Like what you giving by living righteous, you're doing better for you. You're doing more for you. And then in return, you get peace and prosperity. But somebody asking you for donations and all of this, and they twisting your arm and they telling you the amount you got to give, and then what you get back? More of they arrogance, more of they bragging, more of they luxury cars, more of they jet, more of they Jezebel wives, more of they divorce, more of they fornication, more of they all this and that. Like, what are you getting? But these courses that's costing all this money. What are you getting? The same thing you could have gotten the course that was $25, $50 that somebody got on what that site is, Skillshare, Udemy. Then them people selling courses over there on Udemy is udemy.com. And yeah, I'm promoting somebody else's site, but I'm not worried about it because I know what's for me is for me. But over there, they selling courses $10. Some days they might do courses for free. That's how the man who got the podcast called Entrepreneurship on Fire, he got my course from over there, because the course at that time I was selling it for maybe $97. Entrepreneurship with Purpose. Udemy came to me and had me put my courses on their site, and they do like these $10 days. So when they do the $10 day, that's how they make all their money. So they do the $10 day. The guy, Patrick Flynn, I'm calling it butt out because he plagiarized my course verbatim. I don't know if he done changed it by now, but he got a podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. And here this man got a whole podcast and he didn't even know the elementary lesson that God had gave me in my spirit. I mean, God gave me this teaching in my spirit from Entrepreneurship with Purpose, which if you've taken that course, you've seen it, where I talk about, your gifts, and I talk about marrying your gifts and your passions, writing a list of your passions, writing a list of your gifts, and then marrying the two, and then them creating a baby. And it was just something that the Lord gave me years ago. Do you know this man took the thing? This man took the thing, stole it, and used it, and went to making 150 to 250,000 a month, still making that between his courses and his podcast. And I say that to say, so somebody probably paid 1,000, and that same for a course on entrepreneurship with purpose, and that same course people got for $10. And people who are millionaires was able to use the information from a $10 course, which shows that value doesn't always equate to price. That you could get something for a lower price and it be more valuable than something you paid at a higher price. Because a lot of times higher price is just comes from greed. It's not about value. So that's what a lot of people don't realize and understand. And this is the time and the space, especially with it being said that there's a looming recession, and with so many layoffs happening. What I'm noticing right now is that we are in a recession. And I believe the children of God will be provided for. Like there will be provision, there will be ideas, there will be creation and things of that nature. There will be blessings flowing in the kingdom. But the blessings flowing in the kingdom is not contingent upon you donating to a church. Like you could go directly help the homeless. You could go directly help those friends and family members in your family in need. You could go directly, because think about it. At the park in your community, it's kids who mom is working 3 jobs and they at the park because they might not even have lights at home. So it's no sense in going home. They might not even have water. They at the park, and that one piece of pizza that you give might be the only meal they have after school if they don't get free lunch at school. And that person that eating your free pizza that your church does not do. Your church don't do that, do it? No, child. I ain't done. They're gonna start doing it now when they hear this video. To God be the glory. That's the purpose of this stuff. The light of fire under these folk. Because there's a lot of pastors that watch me. And they watch me because they scared that I'm gonna speak on them. But they also watch me because they know I'm tapped in with the Holy Spirit. So they spin off my message and they teach the same thing because they disconnected from the Holy Spirit. So they come here and plug up. And then they emulate the word. All this have been revealed to me. This is real. This is real. And so they're gonna start doing it now because they're gonna realize it's a drop in the bucket. Man, Little Caesars, you could buy every piece of Little Caesars got and walk out of there and you ain't spent $500. So what is y'all doing? You'll have people fighting to volunteer to hand this piece out in the neighborhood. This is what the church is for. The church supposed to be saying in the hurricane, the church supposed to be saying, hey, everybody come to the church. If you could get here, park in the parking lot, and we finna load up buses and we going to rake up people's yards. We going to this neighborhood today. Tomorrow we going to this neighborhood. Tomorrow we going to this neighborhood. If you got a pickup truck, if you got chainsaws, bring that. You gonna work the chainsaw and cut up this here wood. This what we doing. We're gonna take the whole east wing of the church or the whole west wing of the church. Everybody post on Facebook to tell people if they out of power and they need somewhere to sleep. We're gonna have police officers, security guards up here. They could come up here and just bring their pillow and their blanket if they have one. If not, we getting every pillow and blanket we can out of the Walmart and whoever else open. And we're gonna have that. Worst case scenario, you got to sleep on the floor, but hey, or you could sit in one of the chairs and just fall asleep in one of the pews. But you could come stay up here. We got running water, we got lights, we gonna have coffee, we gonna everything that we got in our gift shop, all the food and stuff, we gonna get it out for free. This what the church, but see, so here it is. You go to church and they twisting your arm to give your last dollar, but they won't give $1, won't give nothing, and then will take up an offer in the name of the storm and then keep most of the money after they just finesse you. Like this, the kind of stuff that's going on today. So the reason why I'm sharing this message is because we have to be mobilized. We have to become the church. You can't trust these people with spirit a little smarty talking about they finna teach you how to be a disciple, but instead of just doing it for free on YouTube where you don't have to spend a dime and them just recording it on StreamYard like I'm on right now, they want to charge you $250 so you could come take a picture with them when they could have taught you on YouTube and still made money. But see, they wouldn't have made as much money. So that's why they did the thing, because they want to have a platform. They want to be pedestalized. They want to be praised. They want to be seen. When what they finna do at this conference, they could have did that on YouTube. They wouldn't have made as much money, but they could have did the same thing, and now ain't nobody got to pay to learn about proper discipleship. But see, so now we have to be mobilized so that if you have a job, take your 10%. Let your watch. If your pastor got a begging spirit, then don't give a dime to that church. If he always begging or she always begging, always twisting scripture, always twisting your arm to give, stop giving your money there, and you take and you be the ministry in the streets. You feed the hungry, you clothe the homeless, you be the ministry. You go give out waters in a hot area. You go give out jackets in the cold. Get on Alibaba.com and order 100 jackets. Them jackets, I be ordering the stuff off of there. Everything made over there in China, you get jacket for $2-3. You take $500, you could order all these jackets, and you go down to the homeless and you get them all a jacket. It might be a Gucci knockoff too. They down there clean on them. Don't do that, because somebody might knock across the head, because that stuff be looking real. And so now go down there and do that. Now some cities don't allow that, so don't go to jail for it. But hey, Paul went to jail, and so it don't break no laws. But think about this now. And even if you don't, even if you say, well, okay, this ain't, you know what? I'm finna go over here to the thrift shop and I'm finna ask them, can I have one corner? And my corner is not to be sold. I'm taking my 10%. I'm getting shirts or shoes or jackets off of Alibaba.com. That's Alibaba.com. Alibaba. People be in the comments. Tony, can you say that name again? Can you hit the rewind button? Just hit the rewind. Just hit the rewind. Alibaba.com. Go over there and type winter jacket. You're going to see all the factories that sell it. They already got it made, and it tell you what's the MOQ. That stands for minimum order quantity. Some going to say 1, some going to say 5, some going to say 10, some going to say 100, some going to say 1,000, 10,000. But you find the one that got a minimum order. If it don't come, guess what? You get to log in and apply for a refund. But it's gonna come, because it's real factories. And it's gonna show you how many years they've been on there, they star rating, how much money they made. I done use the site. It's just like AliExpress, same thing. But you could take your 10% and actually be of need. And let's say it's against the law to give to the homeless in your city. You ain't got to break the law then. Take and get what? Why say the gas trucks that deliver gas getting police escorts? It's all the gas stations out of gas. So many of them out of gas. Let me see. And so think about that and start looking and seeing, how can I be a blessing? Okay, I'm gonna partner with this thrift shop, and I'm gonna go up there on Saturdays or Sundays, and I'm gonna have these shoes for kids, these sizes, or these jackets in the winter. And I'm gonna pass out flyers throughout the neighborhood. I'm gonna post on my Facebook, tell everybody, hey, I got 10 free jackets or whatever. DM me if you need one, or come meet me at such and such. Meet me in front of the Goodwill. Meet me at the Hungry Howie's, what have you. Anybody on Hungry Howie's, anybody. And thing about it is, God, know that God is watching you. So you start getting free water, free food, free clothes, free this, free that. Don't start stealing it and selling it on eBay. Don't give it all to your kids. Teach your kids how to be givers. Let them pass over this nice pair of shoes and give it to somebody else so that they learn giving. And this what we have to start. This is discipleship. You just learn how to be a disciple without having to spend gas money, flight money, hotel money, or any of that, or buy a ticket. You might have had to watch some advertisements, but but you just learn for no money out your pocket how to be a disciple. That's what discipleship is. Discipleship 101. And people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to be honest about it and admit it. But hey, this Tony Gaskin. God bless you. Keep your head up. Anytime, Lord, give me the time when I'm not coaching. I'm going to be shooting videos to give you this here free content that you can activate, you can apply, you can mobilize, that you can walk out and do something with it in your life, in the areas of life, love, or business. God bless you. We'll talk soon.